Hey YouTube, it's your girl Chic from Chic Speaks. Welcome. I want to have a much needed conversation, you all. Listen, I saw a TikTok video of a woman talking about women telling other women, sis, you don't need a man. They overrated. You don't need a man. You got your girls, you got your job, you got your big house, you got your fancy cars, you got your fat bank accounts. You don't need a man. So I want to have the conversation about that because I've heard many women say that. I mean, I grew up pretty much hearing that, oh, you don't need a man. You can hold it down. You can take care of yourself. Just make sure you have your education, your own money, your own house, your own cars. You good. You just need a man, really, if you want to try to have some kids. But outside of that, you really don't need him or his services. So I want to talk about that. I want to share that the TikTok video. And the sister made, she dropped a lot of gems. She was speaking facts in the video, and I agreed with pretty much everything that she said. But what she's saying is going against the narrative of, I think what she's saying, it's going against kind of what people are being told today. Young girls are often, being told by women from previous generations, like, you don't need a man, just get your education. Like, you don't need a man, just have your own, and you can do anything that a man can do. And I think that mindset is crippling our community, the Black community. I think it's a setback. And I notice in a lot of like the music today, that's the language that's been spoken on. It's like, hey, go out and get yours. If anyone's listening, you listen to the City Girls, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, like they all chant, like, listen, sis, go get yours, go get yours. You don't need that in for nothing. Like, that's what they say. But if you peep game, a lot of those rappers, those women, they're in relationships. Who was that? JT from City Girls was just recently professing her love, for Lil Uzi and how he heard everything. But if you go off of their music, they talk as though they don't need a man. So I want to share this TikTok video because, this young woman's like, yo, it's a whole setup. So y'all better watch out because you could fall for the okie doke if you want to, but you're going to mess around and be out here by yourself, struggling, trying to figure life out, without partnership. So let's get into this video. Fair use. Let me see. Let's see what this has to say.
They don't need a man. Tell other women they don't need no man. But then I started to think, and I put my Inspector Gadget hat on, and it clicked just like that. She telling other women that because that's the only thing she ain't conquered. Sis got the house. She got the body. She got the family. She got the degrees. She got the look, the cars, the bag. She got everything except a man. So it means more to her to just tell other women they also don't need a man so she won't feel alone instead of doing the internal work so she can look just as pretty on the inside as she doing the outside. But now that's too much right. That's too much accountability. That's too much work. I don't feed unhealed energy. Because I promise you one thing, it ain't a friend who got the time to call and lay with me like a man would, who can help me like a man would. I want her to go be happy too. Stay away from women who telling you don't need no man. She need to work on herself.
Women telling women they don't need a man.
Tell other women they don't need no man. But then I started to think, and I put my Inspector Gadget hat on, and it clicked just like that. She telling other women that because that's the only thing she ain't conquered. Sis got the house. She got the body. She got the family. She got the degrees. She got the look, the cars, the bag. She got everything except a man. So it means more to her to just tell other women they also don't need a man so she won't feel alone instead of doing the internal work so she can look just as pretty on the inside as she doing the outside. But now that's too much right. That's too much accountability. That's too much work. I don't feed unhealed energy. Because I promise you one thing, it ain't a friend who got the time to call and lay up with me like a man would, who can help me like a man would. I want her to go be happy too. Stay away from women who telling you don't need no man. She need to work on herself. No,
Women tell
Now, tell me where the lies were told there. Like, this woman was straight speaking facts. Like, I've so often heard women talk about not needing a man, and even heard other women say, sis, you don't need a man. Today, we have a lot of women that are out there just getting the bag. You know, they have the big houses, the nice fancy cars, the nice clothes. They're moving and shaking in these streets, you know, dating different men. But guess what? A lot of them are still lonely. A lot of them are going home to an empty bed. They have big houses, no life with them, you know, no life in these homes. It's just like a big house, just like a shell. And some of them have even admitted that they cry at night at the idea of just being by themselves and not having, you know, a partner. And I think that people need to start being real with themselves and admitting that they are missing a man. They do want a man in their life. And guess what? It's okay. You know, it's okay to say, I want a man. I need a man, because a man, not only does a man provide resources, but he also provide protection. And a lot of these women, they have the resources, but they don't have the protection. So they get in situations, and, you know, we'll hear talks of, a lot of times women will get in situations and they're out and about and they get in an argument maybe with another man. And then they're like, hey, where are the men at? They're not here. They're not protecting us. But at the same time, a lot of these women, just yesterday, they were screaming from the rooftop, we don't need you, man. We don't need your protection. We can do everything ourselves. So it's like, which one is it? And I think it's like women want it both ways. It's just like, okay, we want the benefits that come with the man, but we don't want to do the part where the work, you know, that's the accountability piece, which is this young lady touched on in her video, in the TikTok video. She talked about accountability, and I'm big on accountability. If anyone's familiar with my channel, I've pretty much talked a lot about accountability when I touch on stories. A lot of time I'm touching on stories pertaining to you know, what's going on with celebrities, and I'll find a way to, I guess, make them relatable and talk about just relationships and just the dysfunction that we often see within our community. And in the what I see, it's like a lot of women, it's like they want it all. Like, I did a video before where I talk about, you know, is it a fairy tale to say we as women can have it all, we can have everything? I personally don't feel like we can. I feel like you pick and choose, and you make that decision as early in your 20s as possible, as far as what your priority is going to be, if it's going to be family or if it's going to be career. Because what I've seen is that a lot of women who chose to go in the direction of career, they spend their 20s, you know, chasing the bag and, you know, getting those high up positions in corporate, building their business. And then when they get into their, let's see, in their 30s, early 30s, at that point, they're looking for companionship. They're like, yo, like, hey, listen, you know, I got my money, I got the house. Like, okay, man, where are you? You know, where are you, man? And that man is nowhere to be found. You know, that man is now looking for someone that he can build with, looking for someone who hasn't spent, you know, their youth chasing the bag. You know, they're looking for someone who's maybe still in their youth. And I think that women have gotten it twisted and their priorities out of place. It's again, it's back to that mindset of, can you have it all? What's the priority? Like, we have to answer that question for ourselves as early as possible, I feel. And when I say as early as possible, I mean that as soon as you're entering like adulthood, like early on, early 20s, like, yo, what do I want? Am I trying to be somebody's wife? Or am I trying to get the bag, build my career, climb the corporate ladder, get this business off the ground? Which one is it? Because both of them take work. And one is going to lack, in an area if you're trying to chase both. So me using myself as an example, I'm married. I got married at the age of 23. I've been married almost 18 years. So early on in my life, I made the decision to prioritize family. I knew I still, wanted to be a career woman, but I did have the understanding that I had to basically pick one to prioritize at that time. And I chose to prioritize family. So I'm married. I have 3 children. During that time, in the midst of having my children, I also worked on growing myself, which is when I got my education. So I have multiple degrees as well. So I didn't have a mindset of, okay, well, this is what I want my career to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and chase this. And then down the line, go ahead when I get in my 30s, go ahead and say, okay, sis, go ahead. Now it's time to hunker down. The men, you had a lot of men looking at you. So let's go ahead and maybe start responding to some of these text messages or returning some of these calls. I didn't do that. But guess what? There are a lot of women that are trying to do that now. And those men that once was showing interest in them at that time, they're not showing interest anymore. No, they're not. They've moved on. They're looking for a younger version of maybe that woman. They're looking for someone who hasn't went out and got it all themselves. They're looking for someone who has more of a mindset of, hey, I'm open to building, to get, with someone versus, hey, a lot of women, I feel like what I see, they built this world, this empire, and then they're looking for this man to kind of come along and fit within that world. And the natural way, it isn't that way. It's more so that woman fitting into that man's world. How does that work? Which is why the man is responsible for asking the woman, hey, will you marry me? That's the way it's supposed to go. You see women today who are getting down on bended knee and like, yo, bro, would you marry me? And, and it becomes a viral moment because it's still not the natural way. And I think a lot of women today, we're trying to get out of the natural way, and it stems from wanting to be in control. I think it stems from wanting to be in control, but with trying to be in control at the same time, I think it's damaging. It's damaging as women try to go against the natural hierarchy, because we don't see this really in as hot, like as prevalent in other cultural groups, like your white communities, Asian communities, Hispanic communities. You don't see women screaming from the rooftop, I'm independent, I don't need a man. You don't see it. You either see that woman under the covenant of her man, she's either a housewife, he's holding it down, or if both in party, both people in the relationship working, the woman still has that understanding that, still he is the man, he's the, he is my husband and I follow his lead. So it's still that traditional mindset that the women and the other cultural groups I see that they have, that I feel like in the Black community, we're veering away from. Now, I do hear the argument of women saying, well, these men, they don't have their stuff together. I can't depend on them. So that's why I have to go out and get it on my own. And I hear you, and I see, and there are men who don't have their stuff together, but guess what? There are men who do have their stuff together. So I think a lot of it too comes down to, ladies, what kind of man are you attracted to? Who is it that you're choosing to give your energy to give your body to? Is he worthy? Is he worthy of any or all of that? And I find that a lot of women will choose men who they deem as unworthy, but at the same time, they allow for them to take over, to put a seed, to plant their seed in them, to live off of them, to all the things that they don't like. Women, we do have the control on whether or not we want to allow it or not. If we don't like a man who doesn't have a job, who doesn't work, we have the control to not entertain him. So the idea of still entertaining him, but in the next breath talk about what he don't have, to me, what are we doing here? It's almost like, your argument is dismissed, because it's like, well, sis, like, why are you even entertaining all of that? And I think that's where the bad look comes from us as women, is because we can say all day long the quality of man isn't out there, but though when you look at how we're putting out these babies out of wedlock, 80% of babies are born out of wedlock, about 30% of Black couples are married. It's just like, okay, if men are trash like this, why are you still having their children so frequently? Why are we still having multiple children by multiple men and not demanding that marriage be a part of the situation? And that's what I talk about too. I believe that when it comes to marriage, that's something we as women have to put out there early on, that that's a requirement. Because early on, when you're dating someone, you need to learn, or you need to understand if whether or not that person is interested in marriage. Do they aspire to be married? Because if you're wanting to be married and they are like, no, I don't believe in marriage, I'm not for all that, then guess what? Okay, well, it was nice meeting you, and you exit left. Like this is what I'm talking about. You're not getting to the point to where you're having babies by this person, or feeling like you were strung along, or feeling like, oh, I've been waiting for 10 years, because that's a real thing. A lot of women out here have been waiting for many years for that ring. And I've even seen a lot of them get the ring, the engagement ring, and they still haven't gotten the marriage because that man just gave them a ring just to shut them up. Like, listen, that is a real thing. And I feel that when women are in situations like that, you have yourself to blame, because you make the decision if you want to continue to stay in that relationship, not that man. It's both parties. Like, it can't be a relationship without both parties saying, hey, yo, this is a whole relationship. It doesn't work when it's just one-sided. So if you're still in the relationship participating, you can't be over here talking about, well, he ain't this, he ain't that, he ain't doing this, he ain't doing that, but though you're still here. You got to make it make sense. Listen, it got to make sense. It got to make sense. And I think for women, a lot of our actions and behaviors is not making sense. It's not making sense. And because of that, it gives a lot of people on the outside looking in, let's just say our brothers, they're looking at women like, yo, sis, you saying you want this, and that, but look the men you're choosing are trash. The father of your children are trash. Then I come along and you want me to jump through all these hoops. You saying, okay, we got to date for 90 days before I get like, you got all these rules, or we got to wait until marriage. But though the man who you had children with, you didn't have any of those rules for. So this is the mindset a lot of these men have. It's just like, yo, like, why do I have to suffer for what somebody else did? Or why is it that, okay, I got to now come along and you're putting more pressure on me to take care of your children that you had with another man than you are putting that pressure on that man. You see what I'm saying? Like, what they say, the math ain't math, and like, it got to math. And this makes it hard for, a lot of women, when we're moving in these streets and we're moving recklessly, to really have a leg to stand on. It just makes it hard, because a lot of times, as women, we're making the same mistake over and over again. And we are a product of our environment. And it is easy for anyone, especially a woman, as I'm speaking about women, to repeat things that they've seen within their family. Using myself for an example, I chose to do the opposite. What I saw in my family is baby mamas, very, very, very few marriages, children by multiple men. Like, that is what I saw. But I made the conscious decision at an early age that wasn't what I wanted for myself, because I knew that as an adult, I had the option to basically create the type of life that I wanted. And I chose to create stability. I chose stability for my family, the family that I knew I wanted to have, which was something that I felt was lacking in my household. More often than not, most of my childhood, like, I was being raised by a single parent. And my mother did the best she could, raising myself and 3 siblings. So it was 4 kids. But I did have an understanding at a young age. I would say maybe about middle school, maybe about 12, 13. I began to understand the significance of family and what it looked like when you have, one parent holding it down versus, a consistent two-parent solid household. I saw that. So in my mind at an early age, I concluded that that was what I wanted. As a young child, I moved around a lot. Typically that is what happens with single parents, when they're taking care of kids on their own, or if they have a man who's maybe in and out of the home. There's a lot of movement, and I had a lot of movement in my life. So that was something that I didn't want for my children. I was like, yo, when you have kids, listen, we're going to have a house. I want my kids to be able to have memories in one house that they lived in for a long time, grow up with the same friends, go to the same, schools in the neighborhood. Like, those are the things that I wanted for my family. And those are the things that I did not have. So ladies, we do have more control than what we let on to believe or what we think that we have. It's about owning it. We have to own it. We have to acknowledge the roles that we play, that we have in these relationships, and that it's not just the men. The men are a part of it, but guess what? We have the ability to say, you know what? No, I can't do that. I can't participate in that. Or, you're just not good enough for me. You're not on my level. Like, we can do and say all of that. We can, but I don't think that it's taken place enough. And to me, I feel like today, we actually are seeing probably more men who are basically doing that and saying those things that are like, yo, these women aren't worthy of me, because they're like, hey, they're choosing to make these poor decisions early on in their life. And then later wanting me, the person who's been doing what I'm supposed to do and who's responsible, to come on and just take on them and all of their baggage. And I'm not with that. Like, I hear it. I hear the fellas talk about that. And it makes a lot of sense, and ladies, you can't get in your feelings about that. You have to recognize that those are valid points. They're valid points. Like, we can't get mad that this man is just like, you got all these baby daddies, I don't want no part. Like, you can't get mad at that. You can't get mad at that. Just like a man can't get mad at that woman if she's like, no, I can't date you because you don't have a consistent job. Like, you don't have your own home. You don't have your own car. Those are things that you have to work on. So you have to present the best version of you. You have to present the best version of you to garner the outcome that you feel like you're worthy of. That part. Like, you can't be out here talking about, okay, I'm the table, ladies, but though your weight is out of whack, you don't take care of your business, bad credit, you living with your mama. Like, you can't do that. You got baby daddy issues with 3+ kids. Like, you can't do that. And I see a lot of women, they just feel like as long as they look good and they have their body parts, that's enough. And men today are like, no, sis, like, I need more than that. Beauty fades. And women, I just noticed, they figure like, listen, let me slap this lace front on, these nails on, these lashes, this makeup on, and I'm about to go get them, and I'm about to be winning. But at the end of the day, like, what's underneath that? What is there? Is there any substance? And a lot of men, that's the question they're asking. And I think a lot of women get it confused to think that just because a man will play with them, that equate to they're wanted by men or that they're marriage material. And that has nothing to do with it. I feel like today's youth, I feel like it's a setup, y'all. I blame the internet. I blame the internet. I think that with our young girls in particular, like our millennials, our young ladies who are between like 18 and 32, like, I feel like a lot of them are being misled, misguided. They're going off of the talk from the celebrities, the rappers, and it's wrong. Like, it's wrong. I think it's going to be a setup for these ladies in the next 10 years. They're going to find themselves baby moms or women who are still desiring, or at that point desiring, to be married or to have a husband, and there's not going to be one anywhere to be found. There are so many women I'm hearing today, like in their later 30s, early 40s, who are talking about, hey, I want to get married, I want to have children, this, that, and the third. And it's just like, sis, what have you been doing with your time? Like, what have you been doing the last 10 years? Like, did you just wake up? It's almost like sometimes I feel like, these ladies are waking up out of a coma and they're now realizing the importance of having companionship, having partnership. It's just like, oh, snap, I'm about to be 6 years old, about to retire. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to just survive off of just this one income. And it's just like, okay, when did that thought come across? Like, it's like these are things that out the gate in early adulthood, you need to be thinking about as far as with planning your future. And that was something that I was always just a deep thinker, a planner, just thinking ahead, looking ahead. So getting married at age 23, that was something that I felt like made sense based off of the things that I knew that I wanted in life, which was I knew I wanted to be married and then have children. I wanted a family. I wanted stability. And I knew it started with me marrying a good man. So when I found that good man and that good man identified me as a good woman and asked for my hand in marriage, I married him, and here it is, 18 years later. So again, it was what I always say, you got to move with intent. Like, we can't just be out here just moving all willy-nilly, like, and thinking that there's no such thing as time. And that's another thing. I think a lot of ladies, they think they're losing the concept of time is out the window. Like, time, what's that? What's time? And they're not thinking about the fact that, okay, yes, I have my beauty today, but in 5 to 10 years from now, will my currency still be what it is today? And chances are it's not going to be the same. You may still be considered an attractive person, but will you still be considered as attractive at 32 as you were at 22? Like, that's a real thing. Will you still have those same options that you had at 22 at the age of 32? And a lot of women are starting to see that, no, I don't have them. And guess what a lot of these women are doing? That's where the whole surgery, a lot of these women are having the surgeries. They're doing the enhancements because they're trying to compete against these younger girls. They're trying to look like that younger version of themselves. And guess what? These men aren't falling for it. Like I said, they'll play with you all day long, but it's not going to equate to them wiping you up. And I was just telling somebody recently, like, how a lot of these women, I feel like, they go and they get these surgeries, even though they say they don't do it for a man or whatever, Cap. We know, us women, we try to, if us heterosexual women, when we're looking good and putting our best foot forward, we're doing that because we're wanting to, we're sending a message to the opposite sex. Even if you're married or not, I'm a whole married woman, but sis, when I step out because I am still a woman. I still want to still be somebody who's deemed as being attractive, somebody who keeps themselves up, regardless of if I'm married or not. I still want to still look appealing and attractive to my husband, period. So I think that, with women, it's just like, they feel like, okay, I'm 36. I'm not looking the same as I was at 22. So let me go and make this appointment and get these surgeries. And what I'm seeing is that just when I walk around in my day-to-day life, these women who you can see obviously had these surgeries, guess what? I'm not seeing them wifed up. I'm not seeing them married. It's like to me, it going and getting all that work done does not equate to you getting in a solid situation, getting a ring. Like, it doesn't. And a lot of these women, like, they aspire, they're like, hey, I want a husband. Now I'm hearing talks of the younger generation, like the girls in like their 20s and things like that. They're saying, nah, I can do away with marriage. And they're intentionally like, yo, I'm good with the idea of being a single mom. Like, because financially I got it. And it's just like, sis, do you understand that taking care of a child, the financial part, that's what half of it, even if that, the work comes from just that, the hands-on, the psychological, the emotional, the energy that it takes. It's not even about the money. It's just sometimes when you just need the help of somebody else, because say you're at work and somebody got sick at school and you got a meeting and you can't be at two places at one time. You want to be able to say, hey, Tag, you're it. Daddy, can you go get the little one? Or, it's not about the finances. And I feel like children deserve that opportunity to have access to both of their parents. And the ideal situation is for them to have access to both of their parents underneath the same roof. That's the ideal situation. And I even understand, relationships don't work. I had one person say, well, I don't think, marriage and thing is that important anyway, because, when the relationship ends, because divorces end, it's a 50% chance. When a relationship ends, it's far easier to walk away from the relationship when it wasn't a marriage versus if there's a marriage, you got to go through the divorce and a legal aspect. And my thought process is I get all that, but goddamn, you want to have a fighting chance. You want to at least, you don't want to go into something feeling already or defeated or having a defeatist mindset, because if you're going into it thinking it's not going to work, guess what? It's not going to work. So to have that mindset, that's doing nothing for anyone. My thing is, choose a man and up front, you're identifying all these characteristics that make you feel as though this is the one and this is going to be a solid person. Don't choose just any random person and be like, well, regardless of whether he's solid or not, he's probably going to still mess up anyway or cheat anyway or be trash anyway. That again, that's a defeatist mindset, because if that's what your mindset is, guess what? That's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. So go into it at least being able to say, listen, sis, when I met him, he was doing this, that. He started doing this later on down the line. Because you don't really have a strong case if the person you chose to be with, to have children with, to marry or whatever, was doing the absolute most before you took on his last name. At that point, what are we doing? Really, what are we doing? Now, then you want to get on YouTube and talk about men trash or get on TikTok when all the signs were there. I think that we often, as women, we dismiss the signs that are there. And I think a lot of times we dismiss them because out of fear of just being alone, or out of fear of, okay, if I call him on some of the BS, then he may get upset, or he may choose to go elsewhere. It's all these ideas, these things that we come up with to justify why we shouldn't do what we know we need to be doing. And guess what? That don't cut it, because at the end of the day, you just setting yourself up. And then if you got children involved, now you done made a whole situation out of the kids. Now they got to get used to some new man that they supposed to now be calling daddy in the next 2 months, 6 months. Then he gonna be gone. Then you finna bring another new man. Again, to me, children deserve a strong foundation, and they deserve for our parents to out the gate give them the best chance possible. At least try. To me, how do you look at your child one day and be like, well, no, I didn't try to focus on a quality father for you because I know men gonna mess up anyway. How do you use that as your reason to your child one day when you speak to them about how you went about choosing their father, their other parent? They're gonna look at you side-eye really? That's what you came up with? That's what you came up with? So let me show this video again. This is the TikToker. And his sister, she's speaking
Telling women they don't need a man.
Tell other women they don't need no man. But then I started to think, and I put my Inspector Gadget hat on, and it clicked just like that. She's telling us.
Let me see. I'm sorry. Let me share my screen.
Other women there, because that's the only thing she ain't conquered. Sis got the house. She got the body. She got the family. She got the degrees. She got the look, the cars, the bag. She got everything except a man. So it means more to her to just tell other women they also don't need a man, so she won't feel alone, instead of doing the internal work so she can look just as pretty on the inside as she doing the outside. But now that's too much that's too much accountability. That's too much work. I don't feed unhealed energy, Because I promise you one thing, it ain't a friend who got the time to call and lay up with me like a man would, who can help me like a man would. I want her to go be happy too. Stay away from women who telling you you don't need no man. She need to work on herself. No, I
Women
couldn't
telling
figure out at
women
first
they
why so
don't
many
need a
women
man.
tell other women they don't need no man. But then I started to think and I put my expected gadget hat on and it clicked just like that. She telling other women that because that's the only thing she ain't conquered. Sis got the house, she got the body, she got the family, she got the degrees, she got the look, the cars, the bag. She got everything except a man. So it means more to her to just tell other women they also don't need a man so she won't feel alone instead of doing the internal work so she can look just as pretty on the inside as she doing the outside. But no, that's too much like right. That's too much accountability. That's too much work. I don't feed unhealed energy because I promise you one thing, it ain't a friend who got the time to call and lay up with me like a man would, who can help me like a man would. I want her to go be happy too. Stay away from women who telling you you don't need no man. She need to work on herself. No, I
Women
couldn't figure
telling
out.
And that was a real statement she made at the end when she talked about she said that at the end of the day, when you need somebody, support or somebody to lay up with, it's not your friend. It's not a friend that's going to be doing all that with you. It's going to be a man doing all that with. And I see a lot of women to where they'll talk that game of, I don't need a man. I don't need this. I don't need that. But they're so lonely to where you can see it play out in their life as far as with just some of the things they say. They're just, they're lonely. They become miserable. They become mean and nasty. Like I always say, anytime like I see a woman and she's acting mean and nasty to somebody, especially if she's acting that way to another woman, the first thing I want to know is if sis got a man, because I find a lot of times when women don't have men, they're not in relationships, they have this nasty, like demeanor about themselves. Like, let me know if you've seen anything like that. If you understand what I'm talking about, they just, I don't know, they just got this way about them. Like they just not happy. And then that same woman, say, if you do learn to come to see that she got her man, like you see a change in her energy and she got a little pep in her step. Like that's a real thing. And I think women don't want to acknowledge the impact that a man can have on their life in a positive way. They just speak on the negative, because I think they speak on the negative because he's not there, he's not around. But then when he's around, then it's all good. But I find that, a lot of times when women speak a certain way about men, it's just because they don't have one. Like, think about it. Who's speaking crazy about a man that got one? You don't really see that. It's typically the ones who don't have one who's talking crazy about the man. Like, it's just like, okay, well, are you just in your feelings because you're single right now? I mean, we've all been at that point where you're kind of in between relationships. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to then start bashing all men or bashing or even trying to make the women who are in relationships feel bad about being in relationships. Like I've heard women be like, yeah, this woman is stronger than that woman because she don't need a man. And this one, like, your strength has nothing to do with your relationship status. Like, I don't feel like one has to do with the other. I think that when you're looking at somebody's relationship status and you're evaluating the quality maybe of that relationship, in your opinion, you're at that point determining, this person's strength, because that person can be in a whole like bad abusive relationship and you can still deem her as being weak and she's in a relationship. So it has really nothing to do with your relationship status. It's about you as a person. And I think it just makes sense for a woman to recognize what it is that a man brings to the relationship. Like, there are so many things that my husband brings to our relationship that I can't imagine not having him around, because there are things that I just can't imagine, like taking on those tasks, like things dealing with just household work, like manual labor, maintenance, yard work. Like those aren't things that I know I want to do. But women who don't have men, those are things that they're tasked with doing, or every month they got to call around and find some man to come and do it. So it's just like, okay, you have these things going on in your life that that requires for you to have a man around. But at the same time, you're like, I don't need a man. Why not have a man in your life to do those things that you're having to go out there anyway and try to pay for, pay a man to do or hire a man to do? It makes no sense to me. Like, why not just build a relationship where that's now you got somebody there to do all of those things and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about, okay, who's going to look at my car, who's going to go fill up my tank, who's going to take care. Like, you don't have to worry about all those things if you just have a man. Like, it's not that. It's crazy how a lot of women think that having a man is so negative. It's just like, to me, as I was telling my daughter, I'm like, it's like a yin and a yang. They go together. Like, it was a reason why God made man and woman, why it was a requirement for male, female to have to mate together to produce a child. Because if we didn't need each other, we would be able to be asexual human beings. But guess what? That's not the case. Like, we need one another to procreate. So, okay, if he's saying we need one another to procreate, guess what? We need one another to still raise that child that we created. Like, listen, it's y'all, it ain't that deep. It's really not. It's not that deep, but people make it like it is. And it's just like, it's okay, sis, to say, you know what? I recognize what it is that a man brings to the table, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And as long as he loves, respects, appreciates me, I will love and respect and appreciate him. And we can do this thing called life together. Like, it's not that deep. Like, find someone who you're attracted to, who you share the same interests in. Don't stop looking at superficial things, looking at what kind of car he got. If he a rapper, what kind of swag he got. Like, those aren't the things that determine the quality or the characteristics of a man. Like, and I think a lot of times women are looking at the wrong things. They're looking at, oh, okay, let me look at his hair texture, his skin tone, how tall he is, how much he packing. Like, those things have no bearing on what type of father, what type of life partner this person's going to be. None at all. Though, and I just think that a lot of times women, we look at those things, we're looking at the wrong things. And then by the time we get ready to start looking at the right things, that's when we're like 30s and 40s, and a lot of us hollering, it ain't no good men out there. And it's just like, come on, like, don't do that. It's so annoying to me to hear women talk about that, because I know there are a good number of men out there. It's just that they're looked over because they don't have the phenotype that the women are looking for. They're not as tall. They are not an athlete. They're not a rapper. They maybe not a six-figure earner, but they're just a hardworking man that maybe works a regular 9 to 5, maybe have a blue collar or white collar job, but they just a regular hardworking man. And it's just a lot of these women, it's like, it's not enough for them. It's not enough for them until when they get into a situation and now they're parenting by themselves. They're getting older. Now suddenly it's just like, okay, they want to try to look the way of James over there, hardworking James, who, has, his plumbing business. Now they want to kind of look at him. And it's just like, now sis got 3 kids, possibly never being married, maybe divorced. But it's like, at this point, it's just like, she's in a whole situation. And a lot of these men are like, yo, I don't want to take on these women who are now in a situation. Like, why do I have to get the woman in a situation? Why can't I get her at her best as she's wanting me at my best? Because we women will talk about what the hell we want. Like, in a minute, he need to be this tall, his thing need to be this long, he need to be making this amount of money. But as soon as a man starts talking about what their requirements are, it's a whole problem. Y'all know it become a whole problem. You got to slap the what they call shame. I hate this whole shame, fat shame, skinny shame, everything with shame on it. And that's a woman thing. I don't know who started after the feminist movement started. I don't know. I do not rock with no feminist movement, but it's just like everything is shamed. And so I feel like today men can't speak their piece. They can't speak up. They can't speak anything honest or express their feelings about how they feel about us without being made feel that they're doing wrong, or without being made feel that they're shaming us. But we can do our TikToks, we can do the videos, the Instagram videos, YouTube videos, rap songs, talking about what we need out of a man, what he need to bring to the table. We can do that all day, every day, and it is fine. And not one time are we seeing anything going viral about some man saying that we're shaming them. Like, we don't. They just, what they say, suck it up, buttercup. Like, they got to deal with it. But with us, it's just like we got to be dealt with kid gloves. And I personally don't think it's fair. And I do see things from both sides. As a woman, I see things from our side, but then from the male's perspective, I'm not dumb enough to not see things from their perspective as well. And I make it a point to try to look at things from all sides, because I'm a mother of boys and a daughter. So my kids are one day going to be, with dating and things, and they're going to have to be dealing with men and women. So I make it a point to kind of look at things from different angles, different perspectives. I want to look at things from different perspectives, because I think sometimes, or a lot of times, women, we just want to play crazy and only want to look at it from our perspective until somebody like me come along and they get to talking to me. And then I kind of point out some other things, and they're just like, well, yeah, like, sis, you're overweight, but you sitting up here talking about you can't have a man that's overweight. I like that right there. Like, how, Sway, how? Like, how do you come to the table asking for everything that you're not? Like, I don't understand that. And they be serious. Like, when I say legit, every overweight woman that I've known will not rock with no overweight man. He got to have a six pack. No lie. They're like, no, his body has to be straight, it has to be on point, regardless of what their body look like. Their requirements be harder than mine, and I'm fit. You never hear me. When I did date, I never walked around talking about a physical, like a requirement as far as how the man had to look physically. Like, I didn't have like a height, like, I didn't talk about things like that. Look, I'm 5'3". So my thing was like, listen, hell, just be taller than me at least. I'm 5'3". So that's going to be the mass majority of men. But when it came to like anything else, I didn't walk around talking about certain requirements when it came to from a physical aspect, because I was wise enough to know that is more to a person than those things. And the things that really matter is going to be that man's character, how he handles business, how he's responsible, how he loves and respects you. Those are the things that matter. But guess what? That's not the stuff that these artists, these rappers, they talk about in their music. Your city girls, they not talking about nothing like that, about the man respecting you and treating you like a lady. They not talking about that at all. They talking about you saying you F them, you just run their money up, you F them for the night. Like, it's all just the thought behavior. But guess what? The thought behavior gets women nothing but heartache and pain, along with some kids, which is mouths to feed. And then you just living a struggle life, because more often than not, a single mom lives a life of struggle. They do. You got some single moms who financially do okay, but you have a lot of single moms. It's a struggle, and especially when they have more than one kid. Just co-parenting with a partner is hard. Kids is hard work. I have 3. It's hard work. Never been a single mom a day in my life. Praise God. But it's hard work. So I can only imagine how hard it is with someone, and I've seen family members do the single mom thing. So I see it. I was raised in an environment with a single mom partially. I had a stepfather half my life, and then the other half, I was just raised, by a single mom. So it's work. It's work. And I think that, women they're just delusional about all that goes into taking care of children, building families. Like their mind is just on it. I don't know, I be trying to understand it. And it's just like, now where you get that thought from? Like, I just be trying to understand, y'all. I be trying to understand. So now it's like on this channel. So, I've switched over, my new channel name is Chic Speaks, and I'm switching gears over here. And I say that is because normally I'll come on here And I'll talk a lot about the celebrities and things that are going on in their world and kind of touch on some things about, relationships and things like that. But now, yeah, I'm done with that. Now, I want to be heavily more focused on just women, building women, giving my perspective of relationships today, coming from a woman who's been married for 18 years. And who is also the father of our 3 children. Like, I know I have a different perspective, a unique perspective, because most of the people I see out here on YouTube, they speak about marriage, they desire marriage, but they've never experienced it. Okay. And then you have some who basically just say, okay, it's not that important, or they don't desire to have it. So, or you have a couple of them who maybe are married, but they maybe been married for maybe about, maybe 10 years, maybe less than that, but not as long as I've been married. So I do have a different perspective, because I feel like I got married during a time where it wasn't about social media. Like, that wasn't a thing. I got married in 2004. So in early 2000s, your relationships, your examples of relationships, you weren't really getting that from celebrities. It was more so about what you were just seeing in your day-to-day life, because internet wasn't like that. It wasn't like internet wasn't popping like that. Like, that was during the time where like you legit was going to the library to, do your research for your projects and things like that. It wasn't about getting on the internet and just easily accessing things. So I didn't, as a young, impressionable woman in my early 20s, there wasn't anyone whose life that I could see like regularly and say, wow, I want my life to be like theirs. During that time, it was during a time of like a lot of sitcoms. Like, when I would think, like, back then, I would watch a lot of shows like what do you have? Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you had The Cosby Show. You had just shows that depicted what a family life looked like, but you knew it was just, it was acting, it wasn't reality. So my reality came from just what I was seeing just within my household, which was, like I said, mostly a single parent, had a good portion of a single parent. And then my best friend's household, which she was from within a nuclear family, meaning, husband, wife, 2 kids, go to church a couple of times a week, so her life looked completely different from mine. But when I would look at her life, what I saw with her life, unlike what I saw with my life, was stability. I saw stability. And at an early age, I think I really, that really resonated with me when I was about maybe like 14. And that's when I knew, like, wow, I want my family to look like this. I want stability. I want, a man who loves me, a man who's hardworking, a man who supports us, support me and my children, takes care of home. Those are the things I saw in my best friend's home. And I told myself I wanted that. So again, like I said, it wasn't during a time where it was about saying those things because I was seeing Cardi B on Instagram and I saw, oh, okay, Cardi B has a husband and she got kids and she got the big house and I want my life to be. That wasn't it, because it wasn't no Instagram in the early 2000s. It wasn't like, it was legit them shows that I named, some of the ones you can think of. And then your home, your cousin's home, everybody in my family, pretty much home was just broken, my family, aunts, everybody, baby mamas, like nobody was running around getting married. My mom was married for about 6 years to my stepfather, which is my brother's dad. But that's it. Like, there was nobody else married. So really, we were like the only family that there was like a father in the household for a good amount of time. But that was it. And eventually, by the time I got about 14, that went out the window. So I was back to being like everybody else in a house with just a mom with 4 kids trying to hold it down. Listen, I knew at an early age, I'm not about this struggle life. To me, I felt like life was a struggle. 4 kids to me felt like 10, because it was one adult in there holding it down. Me and my sisters, we had to work. I've been working since I was 14 plus going to school. So I am a hard worker. So I recognized at an early age what struggle looked like. And you know what I said? Sis, I ain't signing up for this. What y'all say, when I become an adult, I can pick and choose what kind of life I want. Okay, well, I'm going to let you know, I'm going to have a whole husband and some kids. We finna live and we finna buy us a house and we finna live in the same house for like I said, those were the things that I wanted. And those are the things that I got, period. Like, that's all it was. So just because we see dysfunction, it doesn't mean that we got to fall in line and that's how we have to live our life as well. Like it doesn't mean it. Thanks for those who have joined. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll drop the link if any of you want to come up or have anything to say, because y'all know I'll be talking and stuff. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with my channel. I can go on and on, but I definitely want to try to engage more with people and hear your thoughts as it pertains to just the state of relationships today. And do you feel like it's necessary for women to be in a relationship with men? I'm talking from the standpoint of heterosexual women. Do you feel like it's a necessity? Or are you like, yo, no, like women can hold it down by themselves? Like they don't need no man, and I still have family members. Here's the thing, like I still hear family members say that, but at the same time, the same family members, I'll see the need of a man. I'll see it play out in their life, how if they had a man, how it would make a difference for their life. And even though they may not even outright say it, I know they know it, but they're not going to own up to that because it goes against the narrative. And I feel like a lot of women who are single are quick to say what they don't need, because they don't want that. They're quick to say it to another woman because they don't want her to outdo them and go get something they don't have. So it's like these women, I think they'll get together and be like, yeah, we don't need a man. But then when they go by themselves, they feeling completely different, but they're ashamed to say it out loud that I want a man, or I feel like I need a man, because they feel like it will make them look weak. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the YouTuber Six the Goddess, but I follow her. I really like listening to her content, and she talks about regularly about women and men and the importance of just men and women being together. And she's a strong advocate of Black love, and she talks about how she'll post things on her on her Instagram about a man and needing a man and the importance and the value of a man. And she says women, instead of like publicly, making a post, in support of the statement she made, they'll send her a DM like, girl, yeah, I want me a man too. But they're ashamed to publicly say it because they don't want to look weak. So they'll stick on code in public like, she thirsty. She, we don't need no man over here. But low key, they really do. That's the gag. Like, y'all got to be careful of that. That's the thing. She's like, yo, like I'm out here, doing these posts saying, what I feel like I need, and when other women are saying what they need, but y'all not, having my back when people come for me to say, you a pick me, or you thirsty, or you this or that. She's like, y'all not coming out here saying, no, she's right, but y'all sending me private DMs saying, I agree with what you said, sis. Like, so it's just like, I just think that women, they say, no, I don't want no man, I don't need no man, but I think they do it out of what do I want? I think it's more of out of almost like a defense mechanism. How like a shield, like how, let's use this example. You in high school, and somebody got this party. So let's just say Keisha got this party coming up. Everybody then got an invite. You ain't got your invite yet. And if somebody hits you with, you going to Keisha party? You be like, nah, I ain't going to Keisha party. I mean, I got stuff to do anyway. But you only got that energy because you didn't get an invite. So had you got an invite, hell yeah, I'm at Keisha party. But because you didn't get an invite, you want to downplay this. Nah, I ain't going to that. I mean, so I feel like that's how women feel when it comes to men. They'll downplay the value of men and what a man brings to their life because they don't have one. But the minute they get the opportunity to have one, guess what? That goes out the window. They not talking that language, oh, I don't need no man, or trying to tell another woman, oh, you don't need no man in your life. I have yet to see a woman who has been in a relationship running around telling the next woman she don't need a man. Y'all let me know if y'all have. Y'all, I'll wait. I've never seen that. Only women that I see that says that are women who don't have a man. Like, y'all got to peep what they say. You got to pay attention to the messenger. Like, what's the real reason why she's saying, I don't need no man? What's the real reason? Do you really feel like she really believed that? Or do you feel like, no, she could be saying that just because she don't have it? Remember, like the party analogy I used. No, I ain't going to Keisha party, but no, because you didn't get invited to Keisha party. If Keisha had invited you, you has to be at that party. You didn't get invited. So if Derek had asked you to go out on a day, hell yeah, bitch, you would have kicked all. What is that like? Who was that? When Jill Scott said she had her song and she said she told the girl she couldn't hang out with them because her man was coming through tonight. Listen, I felt that. How many of us, if we got an opportunity to be with a man, to spend time with a man, we finna pass that over to go kick it with some women, to go kick it with somebody who got the same body parts as we got. That ain't happening. Y'all know that's not happening. And if it is happening, what the hell they do that at? That's not somebody you're trying to be with, because I'll be damned. Like I always say, I'm not really a type of chick that like to do girl trips. Y'all, I'm just gonna tell you, the idea of going on vacation with a bunch of women that look like me, they got the same body parts to me, it doesn't excite me over the idea of going to some nice, sexy spot and going with my husband. Guess what? It's on and popping. I can do whatever the hell I want to do, and I don't have to be someplace thinking like, man, I wish I had my man here. Like, because my man is like my best friend. Like, we can do everything together. It's like a one-stop shop. Like, as in the TikTok video, that woman say, yo, when you need somebody to hold you, whatever, your best friend ain't coming through to do all that for you. But guess what? Your man will. So to me, your man can do more things for you than your best friend. Really, technically, your man can do everything the best friend can do. The best friend can't do everything the man can do. Let me say it again. The man can do everything the best friend can do, but the best friend cannot do everything the man can do. Y'all better put this stuff in perspective. Like, these women out here, they are really lonely, and they want you to be lonely with them too. They want you to be lonely with them too, and you can fall for the okie doke if you want to, because that same one who telling you we don't need no man out here, guess what? She probably got somebody coming through and you don't even know about it. Or that last time y'all was supposed to hook up, she ghosted you. She ghosted you because somebody came through. Maybe you came to learn about it. Think about even some female friends you have, and a man or somebody came through and wanting to kick it with you, and how you dismiss that other friend, that female friend, be like, no, I can't do it. Who you choosing? Who are you choosing to kick it with? You gonna go ahead and kick it with Michelle over here, or you gonna kick it with Keith over here? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, it is okay. Like, it is okay to acknowledge these things. We don't have to be living a lie, trying to downplay, acting like we don't want the company of a man. It's natural. It is natural. I remember I used to be that person, and because it was how I was raised. Y'all ever hear the saying, look, I may want you, but I don't need you. Listen, y'all, I used to tell my husband, yes, ashamed as I am, I used to tell that man that, like, I would just say it. I was in like my 20s, and I would say it, and I knew it would bother him. And finally, it took for me to get in my 30s, I guess around 30, for me to be like, you know what? You need to shut the hell up. Stop saying that. Because once I got about 30, I realized, you know what? You do need this damn man. And you know what? It's absolutely okay. He's your husband. It's okay. I never said that again. Yes, I need my husband. I don't give a damn who. I don't give a damn who hears it. I told my mama, no lie, y'all. I told mama, remember I told you I don't really do those girl trips like that. I told my mama the day she hear me talking about I'm going on some girl trips, and and I ain't talking about kicking it with no man, go ahead and do an intervention. Just go ahead, call the people, call whatever TV show, do an intervention. Because the natural me does not choose the company of women over my man. I just don't do that. I don't do that. I'm always going to choose the company of my man. Now, there's times I can spend with my girls, but when it comes down out to really stepping out and me trying to go on a really nice vacation, I'm trying to go to Hawaii or Jamaica, I'll be goddamn, I'm trying to go to Jamaica with 5 goddamn, I'm sorry. Listen, y'all, I got a pending invite right now for April to be going to Jamaica with a bunch of women. y'all, my spirit is just like, I don't, like, I don't want to do it. That's not what I do because it's an all girls trip. It's for someone's like birthday or something like that. But y'all, when I just think about the trip and a bunch of women being there, it just don't do nothing for my soul. Like, and and then the amount of money that I'm gonna have to pay for it, and I'm paying for this, and it ain't no man there buying me a drink, and I'm on my own. And I could see if I was a single woman or whatever, and I'm going, on vacation, you could be open to mixing me, but I'm a whole married woman. Like, y'all, what am I finna damn get out of this trip after I done paid my little $2,500? And like, really, like, so like I said, my soul was just like, sis, but I'm just not feeling it. It's just, I'm just not feeling it. So my thing is just like, we are women, women and men, we're meant to kick it together. We're meant to be together, and it is okay. And don't let anybody shame you of that. It's okay. It is okay. And we do not have to settle for trash just to say that we got a man. No, we have the ability to choose a quality man. Like, believe it or not, like, you have the ability to choose a quality man. You can. And especially if you're going to be having children, the part that takes me out, y'all, how are you willing to have a child with somebody and in the next breath say, no, I ain't marrying him? Sis, you was willing to bring in a whole life into this world with this man, but he not good enough for you to marry? To me, y'all, I'm just saying, I will marry somebody faster than agreeing to having their child. Hell, you can always goddamn divorce them, but a child, that's forever. You got them genes, the DNA. If they crazy, it's a good chance damn baby about to be crazy. Like, y'all, that's real. How many of y'all know some crazy folks and they didn't have some kids and y'all see them crazy tendencies coming out in the baby? I know I see them, and we got them in the family. So you got to be careful about who you having kids with. But that's the part that I don't understand. It's just like, so you put in more thought into and taking it more serious on who you marrying than who you choosing to have children with. It's the craziest thing, but it seems to be a pretty normal thought process for women in our community for whatever damn reason. But that contributes to the dysfunction that we got going on. The broken homes, the kids that got emotional issues, the behavior issues. It's home life. It all starts with home life. It all starts with the home life and the decisions that we as adults have to make when it comes to, who we're choosing to co-parent with, who we're choosing to create kids with. Like, for real, y'all. Let me show this TikTok video again for any of you who's just joined. Thank you for joining. Please like, share, subscribe.
Women, they don't need a man.
Tell other women they don't need no man. But then I started to think, and I put my Inspector Gadget hat on, and it clicked just like that. She telling other women that because that's the only thing she ain't conquered. Sis got the house, she got the body, she got the family, she got the degrees, she got the look, the cars, the bag. She got everything except a man. So it means more to her to just tell other women they also don't need a man, so she won't feel alone instead of doing the internal work. So she can look just as pretty on the inside as she doing the outside. But no, that's too much that's too much accountability, that's too much work. I don't feed unhealed energy. Because I promise you one thing, it ain't a friend who got the time to call and lay up with me like a man would, who can help me like a man would. I want her to go be happy too. Stay away from women who telling you don't need no man. She need to work on herself.
Women telling women they don't need a man.
Tell other women they don't need no man. But then I started to think, and I put my Inspector Gadget hat on, and it clicked just like that. She telling other women that because that's the only thing she ain't conquered. Sis got the house, she got the body, she got the family, she got the degrees, she got the look, the cars, the bag. She got everything except a man. So it means more to her to just tell other women they also don't need a man, so she won't feel alone instead of doing the internal work, so she can look just as pretty on the inside as she do on the outside. But nah, that's too much, like, right. That's too much accountability. That's too much work. I don't feed unhealed energy. Because I promise you one thing, it ain't a friend who got the time to make to call and lay with me like a man who can help me like a man would. I want her to go be happy too. Stay away from women telling you don't need no man. She need to work on herself.
Women's health.
Sister was preaching. I think more women need to put more of that money. I think more women need to put more money into, I guess, healing themselves versus the superficial things, such as like, the hair, the nails, the lashes, the butts. I think it needs to be more investment being put into just healing. So if there is any traumas that were dealt with, work on that, because when you don't, you're just taking that into the relationships that you're having with people within your family, within your romantic relationships, your work relationships, like everything. And I find, and let me know if you find it too, the most hurt people are the ones that will say faster than anybody else how they don't have anything going on with them. They don't need any counseling. They're good. And it's just like, it's mind-boggling how people can be in so much denial about their situation. And then they'll actually tell you their story, and it's all kinds of trauma in it. And it's just like, sis, and you still think you good? You done told me this, all it is, and you still think you good. Hey, LaMonica, how are you? Welcome. Like, therapy is wonders, but I just find that the people who are most hurt are the ones who give the most pushback when you bring up the idea of therapy or counseling. Like, they're like, nah, I don't need that. I'm good. And it's just like, no, you're not. Like, you're running around hurting any and everybody that you come within 10 feet of. Like, nobody wants to deal with you. But you're saying you're good. You're not. And I think that the people often don't want to acknowledge that they're not completely good because they don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the work because some of the issue has to do with them and them having to be accountable and take ownership. So acknowledging that there's a problem, that means that now you have the responsibility to do the work to fix it. So you can't rock around saying, hey, I'm this way because this person did that to me. That person did this to me. Okay, I get all that. So what are we going to do to heal, to combat that, to get you in a better place? Oh, no, I'm fine. I don't need to do nothing. I'm just going to just leave this reason for why I'm effed up over here. This is the reason. That's all y'all need to know. This is the reason. Me working on that, that's irrelevant. I don't need to do that. You just need to understand that I am the way I am because this happened to me. And it's just like, what the hell? But I feel like that's the mindset that a lot of people have, a lot of women have. It's just like, this happened to me, so this is why I am. And then they'll throw out, I'm just misunderstood. No, the hell, you not misunderstood. What I understand is that you got a lot going on with you that needs to be dealt with. That's what I understand. It ain't no misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding. Oh, I understand. I understand. I understand that you do not want to put in the work to heal yourself. You don't want to put in the work. So I understand. There's no misunderstanding. I promise you there's no misunderstanding. But that's what we deal with. But the same people would talk about, well, I don't need to be with anybody. I'm just going to be by myself because everybody else, these men, they got issues. Ma'am, sis, how you ain't got issues? You just then laid out to me all the trauma that you didn't endured that you still is convinced that you good on. But the man is the one that got all the issues. You don't think that some of that stuff that you got going on with you has impacted you and contributed to some of the dysfunctions in your relationships? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand. Hey, June C. Hello. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you all for joining. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe as you're coming in. Feel free to hit the link that if you want to come up and add. But we're just talking about just women, and as they talk about not needing men and how they just have this warriorist mindset that they can do it on their own. And I personally feel like it's a complete setup, and it's a setup for them. And at the end of the day, who I'm most concerned about is the children, because that son and that daughter, they're the ones that are going to lose out because mama deprived them of having a father around. Because she felt like, okay, well, I make six figures. You don't need a dad. I can pay for your football and karate classes and basketball, so you don't need a dad. But what I'm saying is that parenting isn't just about the finances. Parenting is also about the moral support, the moral aspect of it. It's more to it. Like me being a woman, I have sons. I can't teach my men how to be men. I can't. I can teach them how to be respectful, but I can't teach them how to be men. Just as I have a daughter, my husband can't teach our daughter how to be a lady. He can't. So that's why you need one another. We need one another. One is no more important than the other. Our children pulls from both of us. And people have to be real about that and accept that, and that it's okay. It's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make you weak because you're saying that I need a helpmate. I need a man to help me with my children. I need a man to protect me. It's a beautiful thing to know that you're under the protection of a man, that you're not going through, life by yourself. It's wonderful. I can't imagine, because I've always just been under protection of a man all my adult life. So I just can't imagine not having a protection of a man like that. And there's so many women out here who are moving without having a protection of a man. And it's scary. And a lot of them are quick to say they don't need a man. And then the ones who do acknowledge they need one, they're afraid to say it because they're afraid to be judged. They're afraid of someone saying that they're weak. All of that. And it's a real thing. So they're just silently just crying themselves to sleep, lonely. There's so many lonely women out here. June Seed says, good to see your lovely face. Parents need both parents in their lives, unless the father is abusive and the man kept cheating, bringing STDs. Right. June Seed, I'm with you. Parents need both parents. Children need both parents. Unless there's abuse taking place in the home, the children is witnessing that. Somebody outside of the home, the daddy, somebody, whoever, mom or dad, bringing home STDs, then you need to try to make it work, because statistics shows that children fare off better in life when they come from a two-parent household, when they have both of their parents. And also stats show that most child abuse take place at the hands of a step-parent. So me being a parent, another large reason as to why I work really hard at my marriage is I'm a mother, and I don't want to put my children at risk by having them to be under the care of a step parent. Whether, I one day get a new man or my husband gets a new woman, I don't want to have to subject them to that, because as I say, statistics shows that most abuse on children takes place at the hands of a step parent. Because what they say, ain't nobody gonna love you like your own. So I want my children to be raised by both their mom and their dad, no step parent. I want them to be raised by both of us, period. So that has contributed to why I've worked, my husband, we love each other, but we also know it's just not about us. It's not just about us. We got children. So that's that extra, that fight that we have, to where it's we have to make this work for the sake of our family. Because to me, it's more important that my children get the best out of life that I can possibly give them than me saying, oh, well, I'm tired of him leaving his shoes all over the place, or he be working too many hours. I can't use those little reasons to say, forget it, I'm gonna, go ahead and divorce him and leave, and then put my kids in a situation to where now they're a product of a broken home and we got to deal with this co-parenting. I ain't trying to do all that. I'm not trying to do all that. I'm not trying to jeopardize their life just so I can feel more comfortable. Like, but people be doing this, y'all. Like, people low key, like they really be doing stuff like this. And thank you, June C, for the compliment. I say I'm trying something new. I normally don't be on camera, but listen, I'm jumping on camera. I'm gonna jump on camera from now on. And I just really want to talk about just the state of the Black family. I talk a lot about celebrities, but I now want to focus on us because I really feel like our Black community is in trouble. And I've even said it to my mom before. Sometimes I get frustrated. And that's why I never really would talk about the family stuff on here, because I felt like it's a lost cause, because I see the way we're moving as a community out here in these streets to where it's just like, I'm not seeing us getting any better. The music is trash. It's not really encouraging women to show respect for themselves, to not demonstrate thought behavior. Like it's a mess. It's a whole mess. And I can see why the state of relationships are what they are. But I feel it in my soul. I need to come out here and just speak, Chic Speaks. That's why I changed my name. I got to speak some truth out here to talk about really what's going on. Like, hear what's going on. Talk to me. Like, what are people thinking about the state of relationships? I'm coming from a perspective of a married woman. I've been married for 18 years. So I've been out the dating game for many, many years. But all I hear is people, ladies in particular, talk about how hard it is, how much of a struggle it is. And I even hear men say it's very hard. And I believe that it's hard. But at the same time, I feel like a lot has to do with the quality of people, in particular women, the quality of men that these women are choosing. Because I'm looking at the quality of men. I'm like, sis, you can't tell me you couldn't have done better than that. Come on now. Come on now. June C says, I am a single parent because I left my abusive ex-husband. I don't bring another man into my life until now. They are grown. I dated, but I was very protective of my children, never brought a man in the house. June, I can respect that. I have said that before, that if I ever found myself like divorced, I would pretty much, I feel like I would do that, where I would date outside of the home. Like, I wouldn't bring anybody around. And then, or say if it got to a point, if my child met somebody and my kids were like, we don't like him. Okay, I'll be okay, sir. Yeah, this not gonna work. The kids say it's a no-go. Like, I can't imagine putting a man before my children, like that thing. So that's when I talk about how these type of things is the added fight for me making my relationship, my marriage work, because I just know that there's nobody that's going to be able to come along and come before my babies. So listen, listen, the kids say, mama, he ain't the one. I don't like him. I don't like how he was looking at me. We got to talk to do. I just can't imagine. But you have so many parents who will choose a man over their children all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Like, how many of you have seen that, where you were like, oh my God, she saw how that man treated her children, what he said to her, how he was looking at the daughter inappropriate, and she's still around. Like, there's so many women that will do it just for the sake of having a man. It's sad. It's sad. There are so many young girls who have gotten abused at the hands of their mom's men. And the mom knew, even walked in on it or saw it, and still made the decision to still stay, or want to flip it and try to treat the daughter like she the other woman and give her the business versus the man. Like, y'all, we got a lot of dysfunctional stuff going on in our community. And I know other communities do too, but my priority is our community. It's a lot of reckless behavior going on, and we got to deal with stuff. And I think a lot of this contributes to why a lot of girls don't have good relationship with their moms. Stuff like that, where they're like, Mom, like, you saw he was inappropriate and you still stayed. Or you made me feel like I was the one that needed to leave, or I was the one that did wrong and I was a child. He was a grown man. You chose, I feel like you chose your man over me, over, my brothers and sisters. Like, there's so many women who feel that way. There's men too who feel that way about their moms. I just think that Black women, just with us, because I'm speaking from the standpoint of just us and the accountability of us as women, there's areas that we can do better in. And June Seed, as you talk about, how you're, being responsible with your like, I rock with that. I'm solely there, but I don't think there's enough people who have that mindset. Because I think if more people had that mindset, there would be less children enduring abuse. And I think the mindset you have, June, that's a selfless mindset. That's a mindset of I'm putting my children first. That's a mindset I have as I work on my marriage. I'm putting my children first. And when you become a parent, that's a mindset you have to have, is to put your babies first. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. They don't have that mindset. To me, they don't even have that mindset when they're making the decision to just have a baby and be good with not having the father of that child be a part of their life consistently. Like, to me, that's a selfish mindset. You're just saying, okay, you want to have a baby because you just want to have a baby. You're not even giving any thoughts about the quality, the emotional state of the psychological state of this child when he or she's having to grow up without their father being around. What are you going to say? You just going to talk bad about the dad and say he wasn't no good or whatever? Or are you going to keep it real and tell the child, well, up front, you knew that he was in and out of jail, or you knew he was a married man. You knew he didn't want to be married. Are you going to keep it real and tell them that? Probably not. I think more often than not, we women, we're going to tell a story that's going to paint us in the best light. And a lot of times that don't be the truth. It don't be the truth. It just be what makes us sleep at night. And we just got to do better, y'all. June C said, my children come first. They are adults now, still overprotected. I'm still mommy to them. My daughter 23 and my son 20, period. I'm with you on that. I don't understand any other way to think how your kids don't come first. But you may know there are parents, women who don't think that way. They don't have the mindset of my babies come first. Their mindset is I come first. I'm the priority. I need to be what they say. I need to be happy too. I need to have a life too. To me, when you're a parent, your life, it's almost like your life's over, but it's not about you no more. Like my kids, my kids are still young. I have 3 kids. I'm still raising them. When they're grown and gone, then I can say, okay, now it's about me and then my husband. We can do whatever we want. But right now it's about them, all the way down to the zip code we live in, because that drives the schools that our kids go to, like all of our decisions. And that's something that my husband and I we're like-minded in, to where we make decisions surrounding our children, even when it comes to where we live. There are so many parents we'll talk to and they'll be like, oh, when we moved here, we didn't think about that. Okay, well, the way Mr. Taylor moved, we think about our kids first. So when we're deciding on going into a certain community, we're thinking about them first, meaning, okay, what quality of neighborhood is this? What quality of schools are these? That's how our mind works. They're not an afterthought. They're a forethought. We think about them first. So that comes naturally for us to do that. So that's how we've made all of our decisions. And I feel like it's shown in just how our children are being raised as far, they're good kids. So I think more people need to be more intentional about the moves they make and not be so focused on self. And, I think a lot of times we can be selfish. It can just be about, how we feel like, oh, I don't feel good. He get on my nerves. He annoying. But your feelings and how you feeling about him, are they that bad to where you're willing to break up the family and impact the emotional state, the whole lifestyle of your child, just so you can be able to go out to the club and go party and live a single life? Like, you really got to just put things, what they say, you got to weigh it out, and it has to make sense. Like, it has to make sense. And a lot of things, it doesn't make sense. It's like, okay. And maybe later down the line, they think like, wow, I guess, I think more often than not that women don't even really acknowledge really when they did those things that didn't make sense. I think we in our with women, we do have an issue with accountability. I'm just gonna say it like it is. I think we do have an issue with accountability. I personally feel like men do a better job with accountability than us women. I'm just gonna put it out there, because I think with us women, we're good at coddling one another. So when we see a woman and she's making bad choices with her men and the father of her kids, we're good for, girl, that's all right. He wasn't no good anyway. You just finna get you a new man, versus us speaking to her about trying to make better decisions. What she, what she could be doing better. Like, I'm that friend to where I'm finna let you know, sis, yeah, you need to work on this, that, and the third. But I know everybody isn't like that. And I think more often than not, that's not what we as women are hearing from one another. It's more of like, okay, we just rubbing their shoulders, giving them a hug, and just putting them back in the game. And they're going back out there doing the same thing over and over again. And next thing you know is, okay, girl, I'm pregnant again. And it's still by the same, no good person. And I use it. Did you guys hear the story of I didn't do a video on it, of the lady who was killed by her children's father. She had 6 beautiful girls, and it was caught on camera, her last moments. It looks like he stabbed her maybe like 18 times. Are you guys familiar with that story? Let me know in the chat if you're familiar with that story, because I have an opinion, some thoughts about that. June said, Black women, some of us grow up to be able to take care, provide for the family, and keep keeping together. Yes, some of us do, but some of us don't. Some of us, we struggle because we came from, struggle situations. Jim said, yes, I remember that story. So here's the thing with that story. So when I heard that story, I went in, I went to the lady who's no longer with us, who was killed. I went to her Facebook page, and I wanted to just get some pictures and just get a better, depiction of her life. And so I saw a post she made. Now, mind you, she had 6 kids, and I think her youngest was just like months old. Maybe like 3 months, like a new baby, months old, infant. I saw a post that she had did in 2020. And I would try to go to her Facebook if I knew, I don't know if you all know, if I knew her name. But I was able to go to her Facebook, and I was able to see just minimum information. But I saw a post she posted in 2020. So mind you, 2020, that's 2 years ago. So the new baby wouldn't have been born yet, right? Not even conceived. She did a post that alluded, basically it said, hey, ladies, be careful about who you're choosing and selecting to be the father of your children. So her putting that post made me naturally think, hey, this woman is talking about the decisions that she made. Because at this point, she had a good, I would say she had 5 kids at that point. I don't know how old the second to the youngest was, but I'm going to give her a benefit down and say she at least had 5 of them born. But she's speaking on, y'all ladies, I'm doing a PSA. Y'all need to be careful about who you having kids with and all this. Now, mind you, you all, when she recently passed away, she had an infant. They said that man was the father of all 6 of her children. So what that means is after she made that post in 2020, she got pregnant by that man again. Gave him another child, a 6th child, another baby girl, another beautiful baby girl. So again, as I talk about how we women have to own up to our role in the decisions we make, because you just did a whole post about, ladies, be careful about who you have children with, and you go and make another baby with the same man you were talking about. Make it make sense. I can't understand that. I can't understand. You're speaking on the man saying, hey, this ain't the look, y'all. Y'all need to learn from me and do better. But you go out there and you do it again. And ultimately it cost you your life. They said when she was stabbed, the knife was lodged into her skull, in her head. 18 times she was stabbed. So these 6 girls are without their father, because he's going to be locked up forever probably. And then their mom is gone. That's when I say how we we have to think smart. We have to move strategically. We have to use common sense. We have to use discernment. We got to think about our children, the safety of our children, all of that. All of that. Because in 2020, there's no reason why, if she's posting, which I presume it was about him, it only makes sense that it was about him because she spoke about choosing, being selective about who you have kids with. My thought, and I could be wrong, that she could have been talking about some other person, but my soul tells me she was talking about him. So just in the event, if she was, it makes no sense for her to have made the decision to give this man another child. That's all I'm saying. We have to do better. We have to think smart. We gotta, what they say, read the room. Like you know, when somebody's showing 6 out of 6 kids, how many kids ago you think she came to see that man was crazy? Out of 6 of them. I'm gonna say she's seen that after at least the first one. She probably seen it before the first one. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say after the first one she's seen it. Okay, sis, I'm gonna give you 2. But you didn't have 4 after that? No, at some point, like when do we take accountability and acknowledge that we're not choosing the best quality of men for ourselves, the best fathers for our children? There's a stat out there that I've seen where they say more women have children than men. And I've heard people kind of debate that and argue that. But apparently the logic behind it is that more women have children than men because women are having children with the same group of men, as they call the Pookies and Ray Rays. So that's how it works out with the numbers of how more women have children than men. So if that's the case, that means who needs to do better with picking, men or women? I'm just saying. June C said, abusive men or women always show signs who they are controlling, accusing the victim partner of cheating, know the abuser is cheating, quick to lose temper, and use romance to apologize. Yep, that part. They do all of that. They do all of that. Yep, they do all of that. Those signs be there, but we often choose to ignore them for whatever reasons. And a lot of times those reasons are selfish reasons. A lot of times those reasons are just about ourselves with like, well, a man gonna be a man, or at least I'm familiar with him and I know he do this and that, or I don't want to get him, try to have to start dating somebody new and start all over, or I don't want to have to be taking care of these kids or paying these bills by myself. It's always a reason. It's always a reason to not do something different. But a lot of times it's just about not wanting to put that work in, not wanting to feel uncomfortable or getting in an uncomfortable situation, because change can feel uncomfortable. Now, if you're dealing with somebody who's crazy, unstable, not a good partner, you now have to deal with either you're moving out of the home or you're trying to force them to move out. It can be uncomfortable and you don't want to deal with that. But sometimes the alternative is what happened to that woman who lost her life in that parking lot. You got to know when to get out. That's the thing. We have to know when to get out. And some of us stay far too long. And then they're talked about by a content creator like myself. We just got to know when to get out. We have to do better with choosing the quality men. Pay attention to how these men are presenting themselves when they're meeting you, how they are approaching you, how they are communicating with you, how they are taking care of you, all of that. Consistent. Are these men consistent? Do they show up when they say they are? Like, consistent is key. And many times these men don't show any of these qualities, any qualities that we deem as good qualities. They never really even show them. The only thing that they had going for them is that the woman found them to be attractive, or they was, good in bed. Like, it's just little stuff, that I say that does not make sense, you guys. Like, it has no bearing on nothing. It doesn't make sense. Like, how tall the man is, how good the man is, like, it has no bearing on the quality of man he's going to be in the mate relationship or the quality of father. Like, we have to do better. We have to do better. And then we can't choose to say, okay, in our 30s, 40s, we want to start doing better, and then bash and shame all men because the ones that we gave our time to wasn't worth knocking over the head. Like, come on, at what point do you take accountability over who you were choosing? Like, at what point do you realize that just because a man will lay with you doesn't equate to him valuing you and respecting you or wanting to marry you? Like, I did a video on the rapper Blueface and his, I guess, girlfriend. What's her name? Was it Krishan? You guys know who I'm talking about? And they recently were seen fighting on camera, in LA on the side of the street. And I saw an interview, with the young lady, and she did with the Shade Room. I think she did an interview or something, and she talked about all her tattoos, and she has this man. I think she has like five or seven tattoos on her body of this man. And recently it came out that he just now told her that she's his girlfriend. So she posted like, "Oh, we officially together now, y'all." Like, and I'm like, wait a minute. So you done got this man all over your whole body, and he hadn't even told you was at least his girlfriend. He just now hit you with that, bruh. I wasn't ready, y'all. See, that's what I said. It be so much foolishness out here with this celebrity. That's why I was covering all that, because it just be a lot going on. But she's just all super geeked because now, like, he said, "Oh, we go together now." And it's just like, well, damn, like, so what were you going off of when you were going and getting all these tattoos put on your body? Then in the interview, they were like, "Okay, does he have any tattoos of you on his body?" She said, "No." They ain't even at least got no matching his or hers tattoos. She was like, "No, I was just going out getting them on my own. He wasn't telling me to do it." And she got the man face in her tooth. And he just now, like some days ago, just told her, "Okay, you my girlfriend now." I cannot. Like, that's that stuff I'm talking about. Like, that stuff right there. So somebody like that would be a person to say men are trash, ain't no good men out here. You see what I'm talking about? Like, that's the stuff I'm talking about. Like, make it make sense. You can't choose to be with someone like that, move the way you're choosing to move, and then in the next breath say all men are trash, ain't no good men out here. Like, I don't I don't get it. It's not making sense to me. So, let me know what you think, but it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think that we as women, we can do better. And I challenge us to do better. And I'm going to start coming on here more to talk about that and how we can do better. And I just want to get feedback. I want this to be a collaborative type situation to where I want your thoughts, because what they say, help me help you. What is it that people want to know, or anything that I can answer for any of you that may want to know when it comes to just relationships, children, marriage, like those things. Like, what is it that, if you have any questions for me, definitely, I love to read the comments. Let me know what you think, because I feel like in our community, with our women, in our relationships, like, we're lost. And I honestly don't feel hopeful for us. I don't. I don't. And it's taken a lot out of me for me to come out here to really talk like this from a relationship standpoint, because I just feel like we as women aren't living to the best of we're not living to our full potential. That's what I want to say. I feel like we can be doing better. And we're spending more time just pointing a finger, and it's not getting us anywhere. It's not. June C said it's about having self-esteem and self-love. That part, like that right there. That's where it starts. At an early age, I had that about myself. That's what it started. I knew that I deserved better. I knew I deserved more than what I was receiving up until that point in my life. Like, I knew that. I just knew it. I knew that I deserved to be able to have the things that I wanted out of life. And that I was no different than, say, the next person or my friend up the street who had a certain type of lifestyle. Like, I was no different. I could have it too. If that's what I wanted, I could have it. That's what I put in my mind. I can have it. If I want a husband, I can have it. If I want children, I can have it. If I want education, I can have it. Like, these are the things that I put in my mind. And I'm the first to tell any and everybody, I'm not special. I just move with intent. And I feel like people need to understand what exactly that means when I say move with intent. Move with intent means that be strategic about the things that you do. Be strategic about the quality of man that you choose to be with, that you choose to lay up with, that you choose to have children with. Be strategic about it, because these decisions can impact your life in different ways or down the line. They can have a positive or negative impact. And of course, we always want the positive impact. So we want to make the best decision possible. And even though, as a young lady one time I was talking, to, and she's like, well, relationships, they're going to end anyway, this, that, and third. Yes, that may be true, but at least be able to say that you went into it with the best intentions possible. You went into it feeling as though you were choosing the best man for the job. Listen, dog, that's like going to a job interview and you not dressing up because you like, hell, they gonna give it to the white girl Becky anyway. So you not even bringing your resume, you not dressing up, you not making yourself look presentable because you're like, well, they ain't finna give it to me anyway. Like, how does that make sense? It doesn't, right? And that's the same thing when it comes to relationships. It doesn't make sense. So at least go in it head on with the mindset of, okay, I'm going to put my best foot forward. May the best men get the job. And I'm going to be able to say that I gave it my all. Like, I feel like anything we do in life, we should have that same thought process, especially when it comes to who we're choosing as our partners and the father of our children. Like, those are some of the most important decisions that you will make in your life. Like, you know how many people out here are so upset with the quality of person they chose to procreate with? Now, granted, they love their babies, but when they think about the type of person they chose to have a child with, they like, bruh, like, man, what the hell was I thinking? Like, they really thinking that. And those are the same people that be like, hell no, I'm not going to marry. I wouldn't marry this person. Because they recognize that this person wasn't a good person. But guess what? They still chose to bring a child into this world with that person, make a baby with that person. So just move with intent, y'all. I mean, it's really not that hard. It's just really using common sense, really. It's not that hard. It's really not. I think people make it harder than what it needs to be, but it's not that hard. It's just using discernment, using common sense, having good judgment, learning from past mistakes, phoning a friend. Hey, like, you got somebody in your life that you trust. Hell, I always say phone a friend, call and talk to somebody. You don't have to go through it on your own. Like what they say, asking, you shall receive. Like, when something don't feel right. Ladies, we have intuition. Go with that. Because more often than not, when we choose not to, we be mad. We be kicking ourselves like, damn, I knew better. I knew he wasn't no good. I remember that day he told me this lie. I knew it was a lie. Like, we got to trust that. June C said, my son told me, Mom, I lost my job yesterday. I said to him, it's okay. Look for something else. It's the same thing in a relationship. June C, you a good mama. I like that. I like that. Because that might not be his last time losing a job. People get laid off, like, things happen, but you got to know when to get back in the game. And I'll bring it to this point, with getting back in the game. There's so many women who they use the excuse of not wanting to be in a relationship because of past failed relationships. So they don't want to get back in the game. And I think they don't want to get back in the game because they're afraid of disappointment. They don't say that's the reason. They use it. I mostly hear them use the reason of, oh, basically all men, their men are trash. But I think it comes down to they don't want to experience failure again. So they become fearful to get back in the game. And I like that you told your son, get back into the game, because you never stay down, because only how you win is when you get back in the game. What they say, you can't win if you don't play. And with the women who walk around saying, you know, I don't need no man, I don't need to be in a relationship, you're not going to be in a successful relationship if you don't put yourself out there and make yourself open to being in a successful relationship. Or if you're putting out that negative energy out there, oh, all men are this, all men are that. I mean, where is this good man coming from? Because you already got this nasty disposition about yourself, this defeatist mindset. So no, you're not finna see this good man that's finna surface. Lord's not finna send somebody over there to you that's a good person. Like he's gonna send that man to some other good person that's ready to receive it. Like a lot of this, it starts with our mindset. And I say, you know, switch gears. You got to switch gears. You got to change that. You got to pivot. You got to change your mindset. You got to change your mindset. Out with the old, in with the new. That's what's going on over here. I'm out with the old, in with the new. The new is speaking to my ladies about how we can improve for the purpose of getting the things that we want to get out of life, for the purpose of getting a better outcome. Because what they say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Lady, it's time we pivot, we switch gears, we do something different. It's time to do something different. We got to try something different because collectively what we've been doing hasn't been working. And a lot of what we've been doing is having this mindset that we can do it on our own. We can do it on our own. So I challenge ladies who are single, open yourself up for meeting a quality person. Just be open. Don't be closed off. Just be open because it starts with the mind. If you already are moving through life with an open mindset, then that can change the game. Because therefore, that means that when someone crosses your path that does come off to be a good person, you're going to be open for what may come of it. But if you're closed-minded, that good person is just going to walk right on past you and on to the next. So just be open-minded. And I would like for more women to be open-minded because I see so many beautiful women who are just still going through this thing called life by themselves. And I know deep down they don't want to be doing it by themselves. But Lord forbids they put themselves out there to say that they want a man. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. But I feel like majority of women who are single, majority of heterosexual women who are single do desire to be in a relationship and do desire to be married. I just feel that way. I think you're going to have the ones that what they call an anomaly where I don't need no man. I don't want a man. I think you're going to always have those, but I think it's a small pool of those. I think the bulk of the women do want someone. They just don't know how to go about getting it. So it's just safer to say, I don't want it. I'll just say I don't want it, you know, but it's not their truth. So because it's not their truth, it's not doing anything for them. They're just living a lie. They're just living a lie. And then some of them are content creators and, you know, they get on and they make their videos. Or some of them are just subscribers to other content creators and they jump in the comments and go ham on, you know, the women who do talk about maybe wanting to be in relationships. So, you know, it's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, people who lie to themselves are only doing a disservice to themselves because it doesn't hurt me or you. I mean, it's your life. You know, it's like, what are you getting out of lying to yourself? You know, are you happy? I mean, I'm happy. Are you happy? You know, that's what it comes down to. And I feel like when people aren't happy, you see it because I say you don't speak happiness. You live happiness. Like people see you as being happy. Happy people don't walk around saying I'm happy, you know, because in that case, you're trying to convince me or convince the world that you're happy. But if you're happy, your whole being, you know, when people see you, they see it. And a lot of women, that's not what I see. And you can tell by, like I say, their demeanor, their energy, it's off. It's off. And I feel like it's off because they're yearning companionship. So that's my thoughts on that. I do thank all of you for joining and thank you. Please like, share, subscribe. Let me know, what are your thoughts? You know, is there any topics, anything that you'd like for me to really touch on as it pertains to relationship and the state of just Black love? Because we got some work to do. We got a lot of work to do. I'm definitely open for, you know, if any of you ever want to come up on the panel, collaborate some. But I just want to get into this type of conversation because I feel like it's needed. There's a lot of people out here on YouTube that are having the conversation, but I think a lot of people that are having the conversation, they're not really people who are in marriages. So they're not really speaking from the perspective of what it's the work and what it takes as far as being in a marriage. They're more so speaking from a perspective of desiring to be married, or maybe they're speaking on the side of not desiring to be married, but not really from that whole marriage perspective. Because again, it's a small number of people who are married. The percentage, the last I checked, was about 30% in the Black community. So it's not a lot. It's not a high number. So I feel like, to do a service for my community, I need to come out here and speak from my perspective. And because a lot of us don't have anybody who we can talk to who, maybe who is in a marriage where you can be like, yo, talk to me. What is it like with work and do things? Do you guys get into fights? What keeps it going? What are some things you do to find time, for your spouse, as well as, with still taking care of your kids? Like, not many of us, because I know I don't have people to just be going to talk to about these things like that, because like I said, in my family, it's not that many people who are married. Not on my side. On my husband's side of the family, just pretty much everyone's married. And that's another thing. I married a man who marriage is just the norm in what they do. Not on my side. So that also makes a difference too, because I married a man who his parents was married up until my father-in-law passed away. So they've been married for, before he passed away, it was about 40 years, 40 plus years. So he was raised in a two-parent household. So he saw what it was like, to see people go through ups and downs and to stay married and work through things. I didn't see that. So that what he saw coupled with what I saw, us coming together, that made for basically he had to understand what it was with me coming from an environment where I didn't see people really working at things, and me understanding him coming from an environment where he saw people working at things, as common say, having something to make it worth working at annually. He saw that. I didn't. So what I did is within our relationship, I pulled from what he knew. I pulled from his experiences of, okay, what it was to work at things. And it made a difference. It made a difference because had he come from a similar background like mine's, where he didn't see people working towards things, it could have very well not worked. More than likely it wouldn't have, because you would have had two people who would have been quick to throw in the towel. But in our situation, we didn't. We had one who knew what it was like to continuously work on something. And I had to trust in that and follow his lead in that to know what it is to work at things. So I had to pull that from him. So that's something I learned because he was a product of a home where there was, where his parents were married all his life. It makes a difference, guys, believe it or not. It really does. June C says, thank you so very much for this topic. You're welcome, June. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through and showing up, and for you participating with the conversation. And I will be back with more content. You guys definitely let me know if there's anything that you want me to touch on. Just drop a comment and let me know. I also on my video, you can also send me an email. I have a new email, Chic Speaks Live at Gmail. So you can also email me topics that you may have if you want me to kind of cover things. Again, I'm trying to go in a direction of just relationships for our communities and how we can kind of improve and just build our families, because we definitely need it. And I think we're struggling a lot in this area. I don't think anybody can argue with that. The argument much is kind of how we go about fixing it or who's at fault. It's like, I'd say it's like a battle of the sexes, like men saying women are at fault, women say men are at fault. I think I would like for us to do more collaborating, more having more conversations together, because I think there's too many separate conversations being had and not enough conversations where the men and women are like coming together to talk. I'd like to see more of that. So if I can cultivate or participate in anything like that, I'm here for it. If you want to participate in the conversations, please, by all means, let me know. I am here to be of service to you. Again, my new channel, I've changed the name to Chic Speaks, and I'm just coming here to speak to you all and to give my perspective on the state of Black love, Black family, the state of our children, and how we can make it better for generations to come. So please, again, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. And it's been great, having this live with you all. We talked about, I think we covered a lot of great things. It was definitely a great topic. Thank you, June C, for showing up, as well as those, others who did come through. And thanks for welcoming my face. I'm showing my face. Normally I have my avatar. So I'm trying to do something different, y'all. I'm like, okay, y'all going to get me. This is Chic. And yeah, I just want to kind of keep it real with you all and, let you know that this me, I'm real. I wish I could play. Who is that sing I'm real? Is that J-Lo? Wish I could play some J-Lo, so I'm real in the background, but this is me. And, I want you guys to feel comfortable to be able to just talk about, your thoughts and feelings when it comes to just the state of Black love, each one teach one. We fam. So until the next broadcast, you guys have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and I will catch you later. Chic Speaks out. Peace.